guys, welcome back to another week of building the Caldercraft HMS Victory. As I said last week, we've got to cut off all these ribs along here, or we've got the first 5 we have to do, and then I'll show in a minute what we have to do at the back. When I cut this one off this side, I actually broke a little bit of this bulwark just in there, but that doesn't really matter because this is going to be lined inside and out, so we can just take the lining up that little bit further, so that's no big deal. So as I said, ribs 1 to 5, then we've got 10 to 13, 14 we leave in place because we're going to be building a screen that goes across here, and we have to make that up, mark the positioning, and then we remove rib 14. So I'll turn the ship around and we'll get started on that. Okay, I'm not going to show me cutting all of these because they're all exactly the same, but I'll show the first 2, maybe 3. Got to be really careful with this because these bulwarks are only held on with the glue at the bottom where it glues onto the bulwark below it. So you've got to be quite careful not to break. Once I've got it 90% of the way through, I just snap it off like that. And then just sand it nice and flat. I'll do one more and do the rest of my own. Okay, I'll continue and get the rest of them done, and then when we come back we'll make the screen that goes across this point. Okay, so next we need to make up this screen. We've got part 331 333, 329, 330 and 332. There's not an actual picture or diagram or anything of how this goes together, but it's not hard to figure it out. The only thing we've got on the plans that I can see is this is the line. Oops, no way. This is the line that screen follows. They said it might need a little bit of sanding on the edges to make it fit, but overall not too much. The only other sort of picture, you can just see the outside edges of this. One thing I did find online is that photo. So as I said, it's not hard to work out anyway, so I didn't really need to get that, but I was just curious to see how people made it come out. Also, we have some window frames that we need to add. Okay, so the brass window frames we've got to fit. We have 503, 504, 505. They don't have a number for these two, but there is two window frames that are slightly bigger than these, so I'm guessing that's what they're for, but on the actual sheet they are not numbered, so we'll do a test fit with those ones just to make sure that's where they go. So first thing I'm going to be doing is I'm going to paint these in yellow ochre. Then we're going to glaze the back of the windows, fit the window frames, and then we'll start assembling the parts, which isn't hard because they've literally got a tab on one side and a slot on the other, so you know it's going in the correct spot. So we'll start off with painting those. While they're drying, we can glaze the windows. Can't believe I've actually painted these. I thought I was on camera, but I mustn't have pressed record or something went wrong, but not that it really matters that you didn't see this. I was actually just saying, while I was rambling to myself, that the plastic, clear plastic that's used for glazing the windows, I cannot find what I've done to it with it, so I'm going to go buy some more tomorrow. So I'll actually leave this at this point. Not that it'll make much difference to the video, it'll look like it's pretty well seamless anyway. So as I said, I'll leave that to dry. I'll get some of the clear plastic to glaze the windows and then we'll continue. Okay, I've glazed the window on 3 of these parts. I don't know how well it will come out, but you can see there's now plastic glued behind there. And I'll do the next 2 on camera. I've actually, where's my tweezers? I've actually cut it as one piece. Whoops, where am I? There we go. I've actually cut it as one piece to fit over all the windows in one go. So I'll just put some glue around the edge. And the last one. So I'll just give that a couple of minutes to dry. It's CA glue, so it won't take long, and then we'll start putting the window frames on. Okay, as you can see, I've started putting the window frames in. Once this is all finished, I'm going to go over it with a cotton bud with some Danish oil over it, just to make the wood look a little bit better. So I'll just do this one next. This window frame has a slight angle on it, which matches the angle of the window. So that one's on there. Grab this one. Naturally the top of the arch goes to the top, stating the obvious. It's actually a very slight recessed area around there, so you know exactly where it's got to fit. That's that one done. These are the frames that I was saying didn't have a number in the parts list, but they fit perfectly over these window frames, so I believe they are the ones that we want. Okay, so that's all those window frames done. I'll give it a few minutes to dry, and then we'll assemble all this together. Okay, we'll start putting these parts together. We've got the slot that tab goes into, so we'll just get a little bit of glue on the edge of it. I know this just has to be square, so I'll use the lines on the cutting mat to get it square. Okay, so I'm going to leave this to dry, and then we'll come back. Move this back a little bit, and we'll put this piece on. So I just want that, all the rest of it, to be firm before I try and put this on. And I'll probably be using CA on that bit because I've got no way of holding it while it dries. So we'll leave that to dry. This is a fast drying white glue, so it won't take long. Okay, we'll put these front pieces on now. So my hands don't get in the way. Do the other side. Okay, that's all square by the looks. I'll give that a few seconds to dry properly. I'm going to use a Danish oil on it just to bring the colour out, and then we'll do that test fit on deck. Just using, as I said, a Danish oil just to bring a bit of the colour out. And then down the track I'll also put a coat of varnish on this to protect it. But once we've done this test fit, we know exactly where it goes. It gets put aside until after the deck is planked. That's exactly what we'll be doing next, and that will take quite a while. I'll actually probably do it in the next video because I've been doing heaps of overtime lately and I haven't had much time for working on the ships. So what I might do is make this a shorter video, and then where I'd normally do the adder next, I'll do another video of the Victory, because that is my most popular build. And that whole video will just be getting that deck planked. So that's it. I'm just going to leave this to dry. We'll do that test fit. Okay, we just have to do a fit where this screen is going to go. It says it sits behind that frame 14. I just want to make sure I don't have to sand off anything. That's square. That's square. Okay, so that's the correct position. Don't have to sand anything off. It's all sitting square all the way around. That actually gets put aside for now. Now we just have to mark on the bulwark where that's going to sit, and then once we've got that marked, we take the rib off. Okay, we'll just take this one off the other side and then I'll be back. Okay, so all those ribs are now cut off. Our screen's made, so that, as I said, that gets put aside until the deck is planked, which is next. As I said, this is just a short video because I've been doing a lot of overtime at work. So instead of making the next video a adder build, I'll do another video of the HMS Victory, and that'll be just planking this deck, and that will get us up to some more interesting stuff of bits and pieces that need to go on this deck. So thanks for joining me, and hope to see you next time. Cheers.